KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning, live from Mountain View High School. Thanks to our friends at CapEd Credit Union. We love teachers, and it shows. Thank you so much to CapEd. By the way, this is the last day, at least initially. We'll have one coming up, don't tell anybody, a little later. Your chance to win more of Kevin Miller's money, up to $5,000. Our Kevin Miller money word of the day is debt. Debt. You want to avoid debt. Just see Dave Ramsey about debt. Don't forget to listen this afternoon at 3 during the Sean Hannity Show, The Great American, to hear our last code word coming up today at 3. We're at Mountain View High School, having a great time. Always good to be out in the community. Joining us now, along with our friend Todd Christensen of CapEd Credit Union, is Matt Rasmussen, fitness teacher, head baseball coach. Good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
You know, we take a look at the school year. Anything significant going on? Is there a rhythm to it, considering, we're about a month and a half in?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we're in our 16th year here at Mountain View, which doesn't seem like it's been that long since the school's been open. But, yeah, things are off and rolling. We got a great staff, great administration. We have our sports teams are rocking and rolling right now, with football and soccer and volleyball, cross country. So it's been fun to go out and attend those games and support the Mavericks.
Indeed, Todd.
It's just great to see that. We were talking off air right before we came on air, and looking at this facility and asked the question of how long has it been here? 16 years. That's pretty amazing. And then all the growth that has occurred around just
right.
this building here, and great to see the continued growth of the West Ada School District.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that when this school was built 16 years ago that would be, you need of an expansion and possibly another high school in this part of town?
Yeah, it is crazy. We have an expansion happening here. I think they break ground anytime.
Right.
Which is supposed to add like 16 more classrooms and more lunchroom space and all that stuff. But yeah, it's nuts. But if you could have taken a picture of what this place looked like facility-wise 16 years ago to what it looks like today, it really has changed. It's amazing.
When we take a look at motivating kids, both as a baseball coach and as a teacher, how do you do that?
If I had the answer to that, I'd be a rich man.
I was hoping you'd give it to us.
Right. It's kids are changing. The job is changing. The things that you could do 16 years ago, you can't really practice today. But overall, there are a lot of good kids out there, and the kids that are participating in extracurricular activities are pretty highly motivated individuals. We have a really good baseball team assembled right now. They had a great summer. They played all the way into the World Series in North Carolina, and we got 16 of those kids coming back. And I don't have to worry so much about those kids. It's something that they want to do, they desire, they work their butts off. They're working right now in the weight room, and it's nice when you have a group of kids that's intrinsically motivated like they are. In the classroom, may not always have that same type of kid, but still everybody can be reached somehow, some way, and I think we do a pretty good job here at Mountain View with those kids. So,
you talk about motivation and being able to inspire the youth. My question to you is, who inspired you to pursue the path of becoming an educator?
It definitely comes down to some coaches that I had in the past.
Okay.
It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do, but I go back to my high school years, and those were the best years of my life. And I was like, man, if I could have that same kind of impact that Coach Ingram down in Twin Falls or Coach Federico down in Twin Falls had on me, that would be a pretty good living.
You named them off really quickly, and they came to your mind quite readily. Can you share with us one of those experiences, one of the things that they taught you that you are now taking to teach to your students? Yeah,
it's just work ethic more than anything else. They brought me in, and I think it was my freshman year of high school, and the things that I learned through playing for them, just accountability and simple things like being on time and what it means to be part of a team, are all things that
life skills
that have helped me along the way through my college years and into my professional years. And as a teacher, I didn't play professional baseball, but it's all stuff that has helped me in life, from being a parent,
right,
and being just a team player here at Mountain View, a good staff member. So,
what do you hope to impart to the kids?
I guess the same thing. You know, I hope when they take my class or if they play baseball in this program, they leave with those same life skills that I was lucky enough to get taught through coaches and teachers.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us, and appreciate you being here at Mountain View on this beautiful Friday morning.
It is awesome to be here. Todd, thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add?
Just our appreciation to coaches and to teachers who are inspiring our youth and making sure that as one opportunity after another opportunity, we take advantage of touching lives on an individual basis and collectively as an entire school. So thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Joining us now is our great friend, U.S. Navy SEAL veteran, CEO and founder of Invictus Group, Chris McKinley. Chris, good to have you back here. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Good morning to you.
You know, we take a look at the state of America. How would you define it?
Today, tumultuous, in a word.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I just said, tumultuous in a word. I think there's a lot of exacerbated people in some pretty lost places that are doing the best they can to keep that status quo going. It's certainly interesting times, and I know there's a lot of angst and a lot of worry across America today. And I think some of it's done by design. If they keep us at each other from a standpoint of left and right, then that's a perpetual smoke screen that allows other things to happen, behind the smoke. So I think that there's just a real state of emergency here. I think as Americans we need to come together because there's forces at work there are forces at work that are trying to keep us apart by design.
When we take a look at living by a code, you as a Navy SEAL have lived by an elite code. How do you try and impart that to people today in the era where we've got one political party walking out of the room while we're trying to have a confirmation hearing of a Supreme Court justice, one of the highest honors?
I agree. So the code that we live by, the SEAL ethos, the bottom line is that you embrace one another as team members, all having the same common goal. And I think as Americans, we lose sight of that with partisan politics. Our common goal is that everyone live a great life and a comfortable life and take care of their family and have friends and this community aspect and all for one and one for all. And I think we've kind of lost that in this partisan fray. Look no further than the Kavanaugh debacle that's currently going on. And, people see that, and it just reinforces this division, and it certainly doesn't do anything to bring us together. So, as SEALs, we're placed in a position downrange in some pretty bad places where if we don't have ultimate faith and trust in one another, we can't function in those austere environments. So, thankfully, as Americans, we enjoy, a lot of things from the comfort of our own living room. But at the end of any day, if we don't have that commonality of the American dream that we like to share with people around the world that don't mean us harm, we lose sight of that, then, we've lost everything. So, in a nutshell, there's a lot of tumult going on right now. I think we just need to get back to the basics of what our country was founded on, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Chris, what are your thoughts for the folks serving now in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and other places that we don't know of, doing the work that you did as a SEAL or a member of Delta Force or Force Recon or some other group, Task Force 183, that we don't know of? Not only the special operators, but the folks on the ground. We seem to have, in our ADD world, forgotten that we have men and women in harm's way every day.
Yeah, Americans were very fickle. We're very quick to forget. And we take a lot of things for granted. We're probably the largest consumers of anything in the world. Anything. Look no further than, just driving in every town USA, you almost get, run over by someone who's going to the shopping center to get something that they really don't need. So yeah, we fight a lot of bad people around the world on a daily basis. And with the military, everyone has their role, whether you're the one putting bombs underneath the planes or the Predators or putting fuel in them or putting the ammunition on a plane that gets shipped to the end user, that being us or the ground forces. this esprit de corps, this everyone has a critical job. There's no job that's too insignificant in the military. And, a lot of Americans don't really see that, the big picture, that every effort that is made to allow the fighting man or the fighting woman to do their job better benefits all Americans. And it's funny, people will stand on a platform that we built, and they malign us from that platform that we built. And we find that very interesting. But you know what? That's what we fight for. We fight for them to have that freedom to do that. And, that's what we always say. They say, wow, they malign us from a platform that we built for them. And, those are powerful words, and they're very poignant, and it sums up everything pretty nicely.
Chris, if people want more information about you, what you can do for them, your books, your video stuff, what can they do?
So they can go to my webpage, chrismarkmckinley.com. My co-author and I, Andy Simmons, we've just released a book the latter part of this spring, early part of the summer, called Enemy in the Wire. It's what we call a book of faction. So it's heavily fact-based fiction. So from weaponry to the tactics to some of the places that we've operated in are all alluded to, sometimes not so alluded to in this book. So it's a book of faction. And I'd also like readers to check out my wife's nonprofit foundation called suitingwarriors.org, like wearing a business suit, SUITING, warriors.org. We provide free professional business attire to transitioning male and female veterans and their spouses. So guys and gals getting out of the military and trying to transition back into the civilian sector, they need to look sharp and talk sharp and be sharp, and we help them to achieve that. So we're always looking for monetary donations or sponsorships, gas cards for our vehicles, and so on and so forth. So shootingwarriors.org. I would think if you did one thing today, do that. Check it out.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Oh, Kevin, thank you for allowing me to be on your great program, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, we'll need to have you back. Don't be a stranger.
Yes, sir. I'm here for you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436-580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning.
This confirmation process has become a national disgrace. The Constitution gives the Senate an important role in the confirmation process, but you have replaced advice and consent with search and destroy.
Judge Kavanaugh from yesterday.
I will not be intimidated into withdrawing from this process. You've tried hard. You've given it your all. No one can question your effort. But your coordinated and well-funded effort to destroy my good name and destroy my family will not drive me out. This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups.
Coming up next, your phone calls with me, Kevin Miller, 580-5436-580-KIDO. Kevin Miller, K-Talk Radio.
And then, as no doubt was expected, if not planned, came a long series of false last-minute smears designed to scare me and drive me out of the process before any hearing occurred. Crazy stuff. Gangs, illegitimate children, fights on boats in Rhode Island. All nonsense, reported breathlessly and often uncritically by the media. This has destroyed my family and my good name. A good name built up through decades of very hard work and public service at the highest levels of the American government.
Good morning. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to the phones, and we start with Mark in Eagle. Mark, thanks for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Kevin. Did you get my email? I sent it again. I sent it at 1:30 this morning, and then I sent it again about 30 minutes ago. There's a website called brassballs.blog, news other people miss or news others miss. To find this, go to Yahoo search engine. You probably can do it with Google. Put in Christine Blasey Ford's name and then put CIA. It'll take you, you'll see a website called brassballs.blog, BRASSBALLS.blog. And there you'll see a picture of what appears to be a younger in her days, Christine Blasey Ford, sprawled out in a park somewhere with no top on, laying breast down with her face down amongst bottles with the bottom part of a bathing suit on. And you see nothing but beer bottles all around her. It looks like her. Further down, it has the caption about Dr. Christine Blasey, head of Stanford's CIA undergraduate internship program. Can somebody explain to me why the CIA is hiring activists like this and putting them on positions on campus for CIA training? You'll find also that her brother apparently used to work for the international law firm Baker Hostetler. The firm created Fusion GPS. The company who wrote the Russian dossier that later admitted it was only a collection of field interviews. Baker Hostetler is located in the same building where the CIA operates three companies called Redcoats, Inc., Admiral Security Services, and Data Watch. They are all operated by Ralph Blasey II. He is the father of Christine and Ralph III. Baker Hostetler is also located in the same building where the CIA operates. I already mentioned the companies there. You know, I got something I got to say. I hope everybody goes to that website because that's something. If that is her in that picture, what is, again, the CIA hiring people like this? She's been a known donator to the Democrat Party and activist who went out there and protested against Trump and said that she would leave for New Zealand if Kavanaugh was elected or, voted into the Supreme Court. I want to say this about the Democrat Party because it is not the Democrat Party of the John F. Kennedy days. The devil itself has manifested itself into today's progressive socialist Democrat Party, and it's a party that has become an insane, depraved, immoral party within our country. They have become the very cancer that has ate away the very fabric of what made this country great. They are a party that now stands in direct opposition and foundings of which this country was founded upon. Some of their ilk includes Turban Durbin, the one who's on that committee, who has called our own Iraq and Afghanistan vets baby killers recently. Bill and Hillary Clinton. Feinstein, who should be...
All right, we lost Mark there. We appreciate it. Let's go to Bob and Emmett with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Bob. Thank you, Ray. Priscilla in Mountain Home, thank you for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Priscilla.
Good morning, Kevin. What a morning. Oh, my gosh. I have 3 points that I've been on hold for so long because I think this is really important. First of all, Lindsey Graham, standing ovation. He showed us how to stand up and not take any more of this nonsense. I'm so proud. I'm so impressed. It was inspiring. We all know that. We're all inspired. I'm not going to dwell on that one. Number two, I really wanted to address what pro-life had to say. I usually don't strongly disagree with pro-life, except on this one, I really do disagree that we're doing the wrong thing by pushing the vote. If they allow this to continue, it's acknowledging that the circus has a foundation. Don't let the circus pitch its tent in your yard. Don't even acknowledge it. You pull that weed. And I firmly support pushing through with this because of the obvious farce. Kavanaugh could not possibly have blown the doors off of their little game more effectively than that diary. No one could have seen that coming. I'm just tickled. It was like break out the popcorn yesterday all day. My brother and I were texting back and forth from Oregon through the entire thing. It was just great. The most important thing that I think we all need to keep in mind here is we know what the Democrats' MO is. They endorse, support, encourage, and depend on victimhood. 100%. They created the welfare state. They create dependency. They need you to feel like a victim in order for them to have any fuel beneath their movement. That's known. That's why we're Republicans. The thing is, this Dr. Ford is a obviously disturbed woman. She has significant emotional trauma. I'm not going to say I believe her, I don't believe her. That's the game. I'm not going through the door of the game. The reality of the situation is this is a disturbed woman in a nasty situation, being taken advantage of, used, and propagated by an evil organization of people who intend to make her as much of a victim as she can be in her own mind, which she already was. She was already in therapy for whatever reason. She's already seeking help. They've gathered around her. They've given her the crown of victimhood. They've said, this makes you famous. This makes you supported. We're all going to gather around you. You can feel all warm and fuzzy. You can climb up in your victim blankie. The second she stops being a tool, they're going to turn on her. They're going to dump her. And you're going to have an emotionally disturbed woman who has now been so agitated. And believe me, I understand anxiety. I know firsthand what she is about to face. And I honestly, my intuition, listening to her voice, she's not strong enough to handle when they dump her. And this woman, I fear for her safety. From herself. Emotionally, she's going to crash and burn. They've thrown her out there with all of us who see what's going on. And like the guy that just called a minute ago, he wants to put her on the stake and start lighting that fire. He's got pictures of someone face down around beer bottles. She doesn't need that. As a person, as a human, as Christians, as good people, pray for her. We need to gather around and support her. If I knew how and I had internet access, because I'm kind of, out here in the middle of nowhere, I would be writing her letters of support because she's going to need it. They're going to dump her. So everyone, please, don't look at the circus. Look away from the obvious distraction. Look at the bigger picture. We're doing the right thing by not acknowledging this. I firmly believe he's going to be confirmed today. If he's not, it's not just going to go back to the way it was. That I promise you. I'm not going to make any dire predictions, but it's not going to go back to the way it was. But this is a human.
Priscilla, thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you for waiting to talk on KIDO Talk Radio. Traffic and weather together. Good morning, Dave.
It's Rick Everett.
And KIDO Talk Radio. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we want to welcome American Pacific Automation. They're now in Boise. American Pacific Automation. Problem solved, pacificoffice.com. Another sponsor of the Kevin Miller Show and promote our schools, secure our future. Coming up, we'll speak to more students. I know you're on hold. We'll get to you. But first, quickly, to get Hollywood's reaction to Judge Kavanaugh. I'm sure it's very conservative. The ever ubiquitous Michelle Polino of Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yes, it's been interesting to watch my Hollywood Twitter feed. It's not very supportive of Kavanaugh. I can tell you that. In fact, I'm looking at what Mira Sorvino just wrote, and I quote, bellwether of the way the country treats women when there are reports of harassment, assault, and abuse threaten to derail the careers of powerful men. If Senate reps, or could be Republicans, proceed with his nomination, they'll be prioritizing policy aims over a woman's report of an assault. That pretty much is that's pretty much the bellwether of every Hollywood tweet, every person, every being, every late night mouthpiece on television pretty much echoed the same sentiment.
Well, we're not surprised about that. Let's go to something else. How big will Dark Phoenix be?
Say it again?
How big will Dark Phoenix be?
Oh man, you are hilarious. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty huge. Did you see the trailer?
I did.
And what do you think? I mean, we got Gene pretty much burning down the world.
Well,
Right?
and all those movies are based on the old X-Men comics. I mean, look, Michelle, I think you and I should just go get some old comics and write a screenplay, and we'll be good to go.
I'm kind of excited for this one. I don't know about you guys, but we only got a couple. Well, what are we? November, December, January. So we have 4 months before it's released. They just released the official trailer yesterday. It just dropped, and like I said, we got pretty much Jean Grey being overtaken and controlled and burning down the world. So, these guys have a problem on their hands.
It's kind of like what's going on in Washington. Michelle Polino, we always appreciate you, ma'am.
You got it.
Thank you very much. Coming up, more of your phone calls, but first, Carson Smith joining us, a National Merit Scholar finalist, all-star baseball player. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So you're a senior here. Are you already thinking about your next move or your next class? Which is more prominent on your mind, sir?
Oh, definitely my next class. I mean, college is out there kind of and stuff like that, but I'm really just trying to enjoy my last year here and not get too wrapped in all the college stuff and moving on to the next step.
Sure.
I really just want to enjoy it here with my friends right now.
Right, of course. You've got the studying and everything else. Any subjects that are your favorite?
Yeah, I really like biology and also business. Kind of interests me a little bit. I really like history, too. So I don't really have any subjects that I really hate.
Right.
But, yeah.
Big school, how do you like it?
I like it. It seems like it'd be intimidating at first, but honestly, there's so many different people with so many different interests here, and everybody does different things. It's really nice. You can find lots of things lots of common interests that people have, and I feel like no matter what you like and no matter what you do, there's going to be people here that do it. How
have you grown in your time here at Mountain View?
Well, I think I've definitely kind of come out of my shell a little bit. Freshman year, I was definitely pretty shy and reserved a little bit, but when you have this big of a school, you kind of are forced to come out a little bit and meet new people every once in a while, so I think it's definitely helped me in that way.
Your two accomplishments here, National Merit Scholar finalist and All-State baseball player, which is the priority?
Definitely the National Merit Scholar. I mean, baseball is fun and all, but I think that school and academics will definitely get me further in life than baseball, most likely, so I probably hold down a little bit higher.
How challenging is it to perform at that level when we're talking about a National Merit Scholar finalist? What's involved in that?
So basically you take the PSAT as a junior, and if you score high enough compared to other students in the state of Idaho, then you get nominated as a semifinalist. And I just last night turned in my application to become a finalist possibly. They select 15,000 from across the country. So essentially, if you're
15,000 from millions.
Yes.
You would say, yeah.
I think there's 16,000 semifinalists and 15,000 finalists. So they take most semifinalists as finalists, but yeah, essentially you just have to score well on the PSAT, do well, study hard, and if
the
you
PSAT,
well,
would that be the PSAT?
Yes.
That's what they called it 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Finally, thoughts on what you'd like to do when you graduate?
Well, obviously, I'm going to go to college somewhere. I'm not really sure yet right now. Not sure if baseball's in the picture either. We'll see about that. But after that, I think that I either want to go to business or possibly be a doctor, depending on which road I like and which subject interests me in college, too. So,
Carson, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to the phones, and we go to David in Nampa. Good morning, David. Thanks for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. If that lady's still listening, I grew up in L.A. I tell people I grew up across from the Bat Cave. It's technically Bronson Caves, and I grew up between Beechwood Canyon and Bronson Canyon. And what they used to say about Miami, you can now say about L.A. You can get to America from there. But you know what? I have been praying and hoping and praying that people will see the overreach and these crazy stories about rape gangs and everything else. Yesterday, one of the L.A. stations had a poll. Okay, L.A. Okay. 42% believed her and 58% believed him, because I think people are finally starting to see the overreach. And how come he did this in a vacuum? And how come he hasn't done it in 30 years? And how come, and when they see this, he was in a fight in a boat. Remember Ryan Ross, who said that there was a guy, with the Tea Party with the same name as the Aurora, Colorado shooter? Except I'm sure the police report had him being 26 years old, and this guy was 53.
Right.
You remember that? I mean, I hope people will see the overreach, and I think they are. And I think they are starting to see, that these people will say anything, will do anything. Even Dianne Feinstein, I was kind of sneaking a peek on Newsmax while I was on hold. Even she said this, what's her name, woman, and Swetnick. She said, I don't know if their charges are credible. Now, she did say these are to be heard. They're insanely incredible. What? That this woman went to 10 parties where women were gang raped and then she took a drink? Really? Yeah. I think people are finally starting to see it. And I hope they're starting to see the overreach. And I just hope they start to see it. And I hope that they just spank the party of rape, lies, lawfare, Farrakhan, and hashtag hunt Republicans.
David, thank you for the call, for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups.
And that was Judge Kavanaugh yesterday. Now, Lindsey Graham really stole the show. If you missed it, here it was on KIDO Talk Radio.
To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you. And I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
Tea Party Bob joins us now with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Tea Party Bob.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you today?
Apparently not as well as not as well as our phone app, according to you.
No, your phone app is absolutely out of it. I'm not using it anymore. I'll go back to my radio.
You're about the only one that that has an issue with it, though. But I digress.
Well, you can digress, but I turned it off.
Publisher of the Gem State Patriot joins us now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I listened to all the hearings yesterday, and I have to tell you, I'm not just disappointed but sad that our legislature on the Democratic side has turned to subterfuge, lying, and withholding evidence to benefit their cause and trying to keep Kavanaugh from being seated on the Supreme Court. Ford sounded very credible, but could not come up with any corroborating evidence to back up her charges, while Kavanaugh made a strong case for himself to be seated and struck back at the Democrat members of the committee, telling them in a very passionate dissertation just how this process has destroyed his family and his good reputation by finding him guilty in the court of public opinion. This morning, the Democrats are still crying about an FBI investigation, which, if they truly wanted one, could have had it done 60 days prior. And when they first knew about Ford's accusation, and several of the Democrat committee members have gone out of the chambers now to talk to the press, protest. And it appears Chairman Grassley will be going forward with the vote this morning from primary sources, what they're saying. Even Jeff DeFlake is on board with the nomination right now. So while Kavanaugh is still going to have to go through the full House vote, I think that after his day-long hearing, a few holdouts on the Republican side will acquiesce, and we will have a new Supreme Court justice within the next week or so. What I fear is what Lindsey Graham said yesterday in a very passionate statement, that we will find it more difficult in the future to find candidates to fill these important jobs after this unfair treatment of Judge Kavanaugh.
Well, look, that's the design, and let's just talk about the overall agenda. They want to wipe out the Kavanaughs. They want to wipe out the Sean Hannitys, the Kevin Millers, and that's what they do. You know, how many times have people said, you know, Bob, I just don't want to get involved in politics. I don't want to be called names. I disagree with what they're doing to us, but I just want to get along. And that's what they're doing. We see it in talk radio. We see it now with Judge Kavanaugh.
Well, I hear it every day, too, when I try to get a story from somebody. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. No, I can't talk about that. You know, it's very discouraging. But as I said before, if the people of this country don't want to go back to the dark ages of Obama, they need to vote on November 6th, because it's the only way we can assure another 2 years of reformation and positive change. Any other way, dealing with the Democrats is just going to turn into another mudslinging contest. And personally, I don't want to even hear any more about it.
Tea Party Bob, GemStatePatriot.com. Thank you.
Have a great day, my friend.
All right.
This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook.
Right. I can remember a lot of people writing stuff in my high school yearbook that I would be ashamed of sharing with you right now.
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell.
And it got even more. Before Glenn Beck, though, we'll take more of your phone calls. I know a lot of people are calling in. We'll get to you between now and Glenn Beck. Phone number is 580-5436.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham. That you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process? You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
There we have it. More of your calls next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
It is not my responsibility to determine whether Mr. Kavanaugh deserves to sit on the Supreme Court. My responsibility is to tell you the truth.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
I'm going to give you a last opportunity. We're right here, right in front of God and country. I want you to look me in the eye. Are Dr. Ford's allegations true?
They're not accurate as to me. I have not questioned that she might have been sexually assaulted at some point in her life by someone, someplace. But as to me, I've never done this. Never done this to her or to anyone else.
None of these allegations are true.
Correct.
No doubt in your mind.
Zero. I'm 100% certain.
Not even a scintilla.
Not a scintilla. 100% certain, Senator.
You swear to God?
I swear to God.
That's all I have, Judge.
Judge Kavanaugh, thank you very much. Hearing adjourned.
And Kevin Miller in the morning here. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work.
Rick Everett.
I never saw Brett act in a manner Dr. Ford describes. I am knowingly submitting this letter under penalty of felony. Mark Judge, witnessed by Barbara Van Gelder, and he has signed it. As a recovering alcoholic and a cancer survivor, I have struggled with depression and anxiety. As a result, I avoid public speaking. Brent Kavanaugh and I were friends in high school, but we have not spoken directly in several years. I do not recall the events described by Dr. Ford in her testimony before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee.
I believe we have a responsibility to subpoena, at the very least, Mark Judge before we move to vote.
That is Senator Richard Blumenthal, Senator Chuck Grassley. Kevin Miller with you, taking your calls. The drama continues. 11:30 today, our time. The Senate Judiciary Committee will vote. Let's go to the phones. Terry, State College, Pennsylvania. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Terry.
Good morning, Kevin. You know, I tried to put all my emotions on the shelf yesterday. I wanted to be objective, and I asked the Lord, show us the truth here. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Kavanaugh really checked with my spirit. And not to belittle our current president, I think he's doing a remarkable job, but I probably would vote for Mr. Kavanaugh if he were running for president before I would vote for Mr. Trump. And, he's got such a tremendous vote of confidence. And, it just made me realize that, God gave us Mr. Trump because the church has had its own failures. And I also feel that God is giving us Mr. Kavanaugh because the church, they've not been on their game. And I just hope that we don't take this lying down, and I hope that we as a culture realize, wow, we're getting another chance here in many respects. We better use it and use it well. But, Kevin, to have a man like this on our Supreme Court, and I know he's not there yet, but I really feel in my heart that the Lord's going to put him there for us. We can return to those roots so easily. And it would just remove so much of the struggle and the war that we've been going through. And how wonderful for our children, how wonderful for our grandchildren to look at ahead where we have possibilities like this to help guide our future in this country. I just can't say wow enough, And
Terry, God bless, and we appreciate it. We got to run, brother.
You have a good day, brother. See ya.
All right. Thank you, Chandler, Ray Amaya, and you. Keep it here for the latest on the Kavanaugh hearings, the testimony. Kevin Miller wishing you a good day. God bless, and keep the faith.